I'm the fuck out. I didn't even get started on what I was gonna say. Yeah.
Bro, that movie was crazy.
Crazy, Frankie. Yeah.
What are the specials tonight?
That sounds good. I'll have that.
Hey everybody, Specialists in Nothing, back at you again, talking about everything, specializing in nothing. My name is Frank. As always, Joe and Danny, you guys want to say what's up?
What up? What up?
How you doing?
Just the fact of how far it is already, and that I didn't realize it was that far advanced until I seen that on TikTok.
Yeah, but you know what? I feel like just because we can make it do those things doesn't mean it's doing things on its own.
Well, it is still a computer.
It's all still robotics.
Yeah, but it's still a computer, so it's figuring out math problems that you couldn't solve faster than you could, things like that. That it is artificial.
I just don't see a
intelligence,
way
you know
it
what
could
I mean?
adapt it as its own. I don't even know.
As
How
its
would-
own
To get its own thoughts.
its
Right,
own
you know what I mean?
consciousness?
Its own consciousness. Yes, that's what I was looking for.
Well, that's what differentiates human beings from artificial intelligence. That we have a consciousness, they don't until
Yeah,
they
like that-
learn and they become self-aware.
Well, because they're ordered by code,
Right.
basically.
right, but I just don't see, I guess through code, like you just said, them actually being able to function to like fully take control of us.
Well, would you think that a computer is smarter than you?
Yeah, 100%.
It's just a computer that can talk.
After a
but
while, it
can't
would mimic.
function. It
No,
can't.
it would mimic human behavior.
Yeah,
You
like
know,
once it
but it-
You
downloaded
think
everything.
it would adapt that fast
Not
Well,
that
once-
fast, but
to
this has been
where
going
it's
on since-
concerning?
I
Right,
was gonna
since
say-
how long? And,
Well,
and there's
exactly.
still no incident like that ever is going to happen.
No, not that it,
Well, you
I think
can't
it would
say
be an
never.
incident like Terminator.
It
or like
hasn't
something
yet
like
in
that.
so many years, like you said
Yeah.
now.
What's
Well,
it
and I
been?
don't think
20
it'll be
years
an-
since we really had some
Well,
serious AI?
I don't think it'll be an incident like where it's like necessarily like Terminator or something like that. But I
Right,
do
I don't think
get
so
what you
either,
were
but-
saying like that. But I do think that it will eventually think on its own to a sense, because just like anything else, like those Roomba like vacuums that go in your house, right? Once it scans the whole room and everything, it knows where everything is. Now it knows everywhere it has to go and it knows everything. So same concept, kind of. Once it learns like all different aspects of like human life
What
and
fucking
how we
Roomba
do
do
things and
you
whatever.
own?
What do you mean?
A Roomba doesn't do like a fucking personal scan of the room. It has a sensor on it. So no matter where
Room
you
for
put
things,
it at any
but no,
time,
It
it
does.
just has a sensor.
Mine does. Like you
Really?
program it when you first set it up, and then it knows the room in the house, and so like it knows where to go and how like whatever. But yes, it
Where did
does
you
have
get that, man?
sensors
Sharper
for like
image?
if animals or whatever come through. No, like regular.
Brookstone?
But but even in that concept, like I do think that if you're teaching it these things, once you finish teaching it all the aspects that you would need to function, then yeah, like once it's all programmed, like it should be able to. It just would take them a long time to do that. What, like I said to my point
It
before, though,
can't
they are
not happen,
farther.
though. It's one of those things I got to agree. It can't not
So-
happen.
Yeah.
I'm sure it can.
I think it'll be more to the thing like in the show The 100 I was telling Danny last time, like it says that almost like a Thanos, I fucking hate that name, but almost like
Thanos.
him,
That
And-
knows.
almost like Thanos, and it says that like we're killing the world or whatever, so we're the problem, like we need to be extinct to make the world better type of thing.
Right. Just like Ultron, when he's like, you dream of a world of peace, but humans don't know of peace. So in
Mhm.
order to make a world of peace, the AI has to wipe out the humans.
Yeah.
That type of shit.
So I definitely think it could be something like that, but how we would go extinct, I don't really know. Like I don't think it would be like where it would be like a war against robots. I think it'd be more like where they try and poison us or tries to like do something that way to just make
No,
us
I don't.
extinct.
I think it would just be an overthrow. They don't need anything to eat to survive, so they could wipe out all of our food and we'll be extinct in ourselves. The issue is this, Joe, you have this idea that, oh, it hasn't happened yet. It's taken so long. And I get that. I agree with you. But at the same time, once it happens, it's going to happen like that. They're going to download the information and it's going to be an uprising quicker than they've had this time to learn. They're still
You
being
think that-
built by humans, you know?
But you think that's why it's taken us so long, because like scientists know and fear that.
Bro,
So
we
that
got
they are
fucking
making sure that-
tanks and warships and missiles and bombs and guns.
That's
And not
all
even
man
that, like
controlled.
wouldn't the smarter scientists just shut off whatever power source to whatever like program, like, or I don't know, like I feel like you have to make a kill switch for something like that. Like that's what I'm saying. Like they have to prepare for something like that, knowing that that could happen. And I think that's why it's taking them so long to make it something, because it's like, okay, well, we can't do this yet fully until we get all the precautionary stuff in first. We have to make sure that they understand not to kill us before they understand, like that has to be number one before whatever the best scenario for life is or whatever.
All right, I could see that.
You know,
But
that could be
I
why
don't
it's
think
taking a
that
while.
I don't think that humans are going to think of everything to do to prevent an uprising or
That's true, like, we're not
'cause
as smart as a
computers will
computer to- yeah.
will always outthink us.
Yeah, that's true.
There's a really cool animated film called The Animatrix. Have you guys seen it yet?
No,
Okay,
heard
so
the
wait,
Animaniacs.
everyone's heard of The Animatrix. What
Nah,
are the
that's
names?
what I
What
thought
are the
of when
three
you said it.
names? Three names. Go. Come on.
I don't know.
Neither one of you guys, Joe.
I
you know
remember
the-
Pinky and the Brain
Animaniacs?
in the like
That's
inside
not what I'm
of that.
talking about. Three of them. The Warner Brothers and the sister.
I know I never really watched it, so I couldn't tell you.
Wacko, Yakko, and Dot.
Mm,
Come on, fam.
Sorry,
I
fam.
totally forgot that.
Shit. The Warner Brothers and sister Dot.
I give you credit for that one. I really do.
Shit. I forgot what I was saying a minute ago, but the Animatrix, right? So basically it's like an hour and 20 minutes and it's broken up into 9 segments. It's a 2-part segment. It explains how the movie The Matrix became The Matrix, where humans created these machines to do more work for them, and the machines started to take over and take control. So what they did was they created some type of a nuclear blast, which gave a dust cover to the sun so that crops wouldn't grow, and they would rely on the machines to make the food. Once we became reliant on the machines then became powerful. And that's what happened. They created the Matrix, where they're just basically feeding off of the human bodies, and our consciousness is in a quote unquote matrix, hence the movie, you know? So when you're unplugged, you're not part of the fake reality anymore. You're part of the real reality, where the machines are the superior. It's really cool. I think I definitely have it on DVD. I don't know if it's up here or downstairs, but
I
that's
mean,
some
that
shit.
I feel like out of all of the things that we talk about, and like so many different possibilities of like terrible scenarios that what if could be, or this and that could happen, like I feel like that would be the most terrifying, like more than like zombies, more than like anything else. Like I feel like if like the world was taken over by like some type of artificial intelligence army or whatever you want to call it, I think that would be the most scariest scenario, because exactly like you said, like computers think of everything. So like
Yeah.
you're not like there's no rebellion
It's
against
just
that.
not realistic to me. I'm like, even if I
Okay,
put it
check
in
this out.
realistic terms, I can't truly feel like what I would want to feel.
So,
So I don't-
even if
I
like
don't
50 years in the
see-
future iRobot was like normal life, you
Well,
don't think,
iRobot
like,
came out in 2004,
I
but
wrote-
the
the
story
world's not gonna
takes
come down
place
to
in
iRobot.
2035. So in 15 years from now,
I don't even think 15 years from now. Well, actually that's crazy, because if you think 15 years ago, we did not have a lot of good computer
Right.
stuff compared to now. But I think even like more than that, I think like 30, 40 years from now, you don't think that
Regardless
there
of
could
it?
be robots around?
you know how it's crazy though. The movie iRobot
I don't
Look at the
think so.
TikTok
was the
that we
most
just showed you. That
realistic.
thing walks around and talks, and
Yeah, but that's
Right,
all
but not
still
on
like
its
an
own.
MIT
It's still
lab.
robotic, right?
It's not. It doesn't have walking legs, arms, motor function,
I
shit like
think
that.
there
It can
are
barely
s-
smile.
Right. I don't know.
What do you think, Joe?
I don't know. I don't think it's
I think it's possible, and I think it's going to happen sooner than later that we see AI.
I
I'm
think
not
it's
saying that they're going to take
I
over.
do think it's possible, but I think it's gonna happen later than never.
Do you think
you don't think we'll
later
see
than
it in our
never? What do you
lifetime.
mean?
Like I don't think it'll happen anytime soon. Some shit like
You
that.
think
will
we'll
happen,
get to see
I
it
think,
before
in
we
a
die?
Do
Really
you think you'll see it in your
different
lifetime?
That's what I'm saying.
No,
Before we
I
die, you
don't.
think we'll see like
No.
robots like that?
I don't
So
think
you're
so.
saying that we won't have robots in the next 50 years, give or take? Because I'm going to say fucking 80 is the probably solid year for
not a
us.
robot to where I could walk up and speak to a robotic artificial intelligent machine that's not being controlled or
Like the
programmed
Jetsons
by a
type of thing.
human.
Okay.
I don't
check this
think
out.
I'll ever
Ready?
encounter that in my lifetime.
Like
Okay.
you don't think it'll be like
Some
a
shit like
servant
that.
robot like in the
No.
Jetsons or like something
I
like that?
don't. No, I don't think so. No.
At Stop and Shop, Karen's
Marty.
store,
Yeah, I know.
there
it's-
is a robot
That thing
Right.
isn't what you think it is, though.
It's not
well,
what he.
all-
I don't know
all
what
it
he thinks
is-
it is.
All it is a machine. It's
It's
basically
a
a giant Roomba.
sensor.
All
right.
it is a big machine that has a bunch of sensors
That's
to go around the
it.
store, and it sees when there's
Roomba.
something that's on the floor that's
A
not plain
fancy
or white or whatever,
looking
and it just
Roomba.
lets them know that there's a spill on the floor so they can avoid slip and falls.
Okay, but now who's to say in some other places of the country they don't have something like that in the store where you can go up to it and say, "Hey, I'm looking for Campbell's soup, chunky," and then it'll say, "Doo-doo-doo-doo, aisle 4, shelf 5."
I mean, I'm sure there is some kind of computer that could do that.
Think about
But
this. The
I was
most
thinking
I'm
simple
more-
sure
form
you
of AI.
can program a computer to respond to specific questions like that. There's voice syncs in certain things. It's
Well, I was thinking
voice
more like-
command. You could talk into your phone, it'll literally spell out the whole sentence for you. Like there's programs that could operate like that, but I don't think it'll just be a artificial intelligent computer in an aisle walking
Yeah.
around, as its own entity, like
Well, I
entity
don't know if we'll
answering
see
your
that
questions.
soon, but I do think we'll see it before we die, like what you're saying, like to
I
that.
think in our lifetime we'll see something pretty fucking cool and close to it,
Well, because I think we've seen
but
that
I don't
already.
think
like,
to the max
so
of like
even
it
for
taking
SWAT
over
teams.
and any.
Well, so even for SWAT teams, they have these new like mechanical dog looking things. They're like on 4 legs and they have like a camera on the front and it moves on its own. It goes to detect like life.
It's for the
form or whatever.
bombs, bro. They use it for bombs.
But that's what I was just saying. So
it
what,
had
we
that
don't
shit for
have
a
to go in
while,
there.
Frank.
Yeah,
For a
dude,
what I'm
while,
saying,
they
so,
had
like,
that.
From something like that to the robot that we seen that doesn't have legs to like Roombas to smart computers, this that. I do think in the next 50 years, like all
You'll
that
start
put together
seeing
can
cool
start.
shit, right?
Yeah, like I do.
Here's
think
the
that
thing,
we'll
though.
see some
That's what
type
I'm
of
saying. We're gonna see
Fervent-esque things.
cool shit.
artificial
don't
intelligence
think-
doesn't have to be a robot. Artificial intelligence is the smart TVs or the smart boards that they have in school classrooms.
Yeah,
you
anything
know?
that you can like voice activate or Alexa. Alexa is artificial intelligence.
It really
That's
is. There
You know what I
go.
mean? Yo,
And
I told you guys about the story where the Alexa got some guy arrested because they heard it at a party, like that they were talking about like illegal things while somebody was changing the music, and the cops were notified and they came to the house and people were arrested and stuff like that.
I think you
Shit
did
is
mention this
crazy.
to
Like
me.
that's artificial intelligence, dude.
Frank, why don't you Frankopedia artificial intelligence for us real quick?
So artificial
Thanks,
intelligence.
Danny.
You got it. Because I want to talk about these.
Well, it's
types.
the ability of a computer program or a machine to think and learn. It is also a field of study which tries to make computers quote unquote smart. They work on their own without being encoded or with commands. So yeah, like even like the menus at McDonald's that you place your own order, or there's certain things now. Like I've seen there's
Guest
these robotic
appearance.
things that you could use in the kitchen. Hi, Minnie. But there's like these burger flipper things that it's like a spatula on a robot that's in front of the grill that comes over, slides, it'll flip burgers, it'll do whatever, and it'll cook all this food to the right temperature, the right way. Like that's artificial intelligence. It's cooking a burger like a person does.
I think artificial intelligence is more so the act of learning on its own than just having like your own self checkout at Target, you know?
Mhm.
Not for nothing. Little side note, I feel like we should get a discount if we use self checkout because
We should get a discount.
we
That's a
don't-
good point.
we did not go through the 7-hour training course. We didn't watch any videos on it. We just showed up, got our shit, beep, 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 bagged our own
He's say-
groceries.
he's saying
and then
that
throw
'cause
that shit in the corner. I mean,
He's
the
saying
cart.
that because when he goes to self checkout, he's the guy that like, what the fuck? Why do I need someone to keep coming me the cart? Like
Yo,
I put it on the scale. What I don't
every
get.
single time.
Dude,
Every single
I know
time.
this because when we went the other day, he had like 20 items and it took him like 25 minutes to ring himself up while I was waiting for him in the car. I'm like, what is he doing? And I'm like, oh, he must not get it. I
No,
get
I
that I've
get it.
worked at the grocery store before, like even though I did security and stuff, like I do just know how the machines work better. So I guess I am faster. But yeah, to me, I'm like, how do you not know how to do that? Like, but
I know
a
how.
lot
but
of
it's like,
people have
I gotta,
problems with it.
I gotta remove the carrots to add the apple because it doesn't fit in the bag. And it's like, please place the item on the baggage area. And then you put it back in and it's overweight. And I'm like, it's underweight. Beep, beep. Wait, please. Someone will be over to assist you shortly. I'm like, dude, I know the code for bananas. 0115. Let's get it. Come on.
It's actually 0411.
What the, how close was I for taking a shot in the dark? So AI is something that'll develop on its own, like you said. it tries to make computers smart so that they could be programmed or think on their own, for that matter. Like I said, the main difference between humans and robots, though, is going to be consciousness and emotions,
Yeah, I guess
because
it's the same.
robots
They
don't
can
have
learn.
emotions.
Yeah,
It
I
can
guess
mimic.
that's
can
the key
mimic.
word is learn. It to learn on its own. That's definitely the big key word.
Joe's having focus problems.
Yeah, yeah.
I see a big ass smile, and then it's gone.
What the heck, man?
Come closer to the speakers.
Come hither.
Speakers. I don't have speakers.
All right, come closer. Come closer. Okay, back up.
Too close.
Closer.
A little
Wait,
too close.
Too close. Back up. Back up. Too close. Okay, down. No, there you go. Hey, that's a nice necklace. Did you have that before?
I totally thought of a ladder. That was great.
No, you wouldn't get it. Whoever's.
Oh, I get
Bye-bye.
that. I
There
get
you
that.
go. Forgetting Sarah Marshall reference. Whatever you just did, it worked. I see you.
That honestly, that's not something like that's a movie that when I see it, I'm like, oh yes, that was such a great movie, but I don't always think to reference it or like watch it or yeah, it's not always on the
It's a
front of
good
my
one.
mind. Oh, it is a good one.
So about AI, I definitely think that in our time we'll see something pretty outrageous. Are we going to see like AI walking through the streets and stuff? I don't think so. There's another good movie called
Danny's got a really exciting life planned ahead for us. We're gonna fucking meet aliens. We're gonna have an AI takeover.
Bro, I am
the
praying that this
Illuminati
shit
is gonna do
happens.
another crazy fucking thing to make us all go crazy.
Lizard people are coming.
They're already here, fam. Everything's already happening. Y'all just got your eyes closed.
So the lizard people, the aliens,
You should make
who are
movies,
all,
Danny.
I guess funded by Illuminati, are gonna at some point all come out, and then some random bad virus is gonna spread and turn most of them into zombies. To which I'll be ready with my jail for you guys to come.
Yo,
From
we made a
the-
joke
yeah.
before. I was talking to Joe on the phone, and he's like, "Yeah, I gotta pay this, and that. Otherwise, they're gonna do this. I'll have to spend a night in jail." I was like, "Well, Frank's personally probably not gonna pay those on purpose, just to spend a week in jail." He's like, "No, I'm good. I got a con over here. We're straight with it. It'll work out." But as far as the AIs go,
But wait, so I did want to make a wait. I'm sorry, you
what's
said
up?
something
Go
already.
ahead, because I'm gonna get into the 4 types.
Well, me too. So getting back into what you just said though, like, because so to the point of the Frankopedia where the definition says, it says to think and to learn. But I was reading the points before, and the second point says limited memory is a type of artificial intelligence. It refers to the AI's ability to store previous data and predictions. So it uses the data that we can store on it to then figure out stuff in the future of most likely scenarios of like probability. So it'll say like, okay, well, in the past, this person did this, and this on these many times of this occasion, and when this happened to them. So if this happens again, there's a 72% chance that this is what they're going to do. So it can take past data to do like that. That's I think we're there already.
Like predictive.
Yeah, we used to use that in Stop and Shop. We make
Okay.
docs and stuff on cost with profit and loss and
There it
stuff
is.
with inventories and stuff, and use it to help. Like, and there would be formulas in the Excel documents that when you would type stuff in, it would give you predictions for the future based on
Right.
trends from the past.
Well,
You call
that's
that
also-
artificial intelligence?
I don't. I think that's just yes and no, because it's also just a bar graph or a line graph.
It's a code. It's just a.
That's
it's
what that
a-
is.
It's an
It's- it-
algorithm.
Well, it's just the computer figuring out the probability of something faster than we
Right.
can. But that is them figuring out something. Like, that is the computer thinking. And the way they're learning is using the past stuff to predict future
Events
probabilities.
or
You know what I mean?
probabilities, right?
So that is them thinking and learning, just not to the sense of
You do make a
servantism and,
really,
like,
really
yes.
good point.
It's not to the scale of like, yes, of how much it could be and how more, like,
All
whatever.
right. So when someone says AI, what do you automatically think of? And don't say robots, because we all know robots comes. That's number one.
I mean, after talking about it like this, a computer that can think.
So when I first hear AI, I think of artificial intelligence. For some reason, I think of like a fucking compute. All right, here's a perfect example.
I think of a mind drop.
Was it Winter Soldier? I think when they went into the fucking Hydra doctor's computer system, and he uploaded his consciousness into the computer. That's AI for me.
That's what I
feel.
that's what I was just saying when I said
You
mind
know?
drives. Yeah. Same
So
thing in the
something like
100.
that.
They had like these chips where they would put in their brain. So then like they'd put it in their brain, their consciousness would upload onto the chip, and then if they were killed, they could take that chip out and put it in another person, and that
Right.
person would die, and the person's like memory that was on the consciousness of the chip would then take over that person's body.
So
Now, I don't think that's something that's believable to where we are now,
You
but
don't think something
I'm going
like
to put a
that
pin
could
in that
happen?
because
I
there's
think
something
it
I want
could
to say about
happen.
another Netflix
I don't think-
episode.
I don't think that we have chips like that right now, but I do think that that's something that we could happen in the future to where, yeah, I mean, if
See,
you can
that,
literally
for
get your
me-
mental plugged into a computer and think of things to let it be uploaded to the computer, and then now those thoughts are in a file, and you could just take that file and put it in another living thing to make it all
So
connect.
that's similar to the movie Transcendence with Johnny Depp.
Well, that's
which I
exactly
didn't
what
see
happened
it
in
in
the show. I'm
full.
watching the 100
Right.
too.
So we'll put a pin in that for a second. I don't know why I want to keep referencing this. I'm gonna just get it off my head so I stop thinking about it. But I think the first thing of AI that I've ever come in contact with is a calculator, because you could put blah 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 numbers times blah 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 numbers, and within a millisecond you have the fucking answer, a correct
It's a
answer.
program. It's a
Well,
program.
it's,
It's
I
an
it's
get
thinking,
that.
but it's
No.
not learning.
I understand that, but that's
Right.
for me. Then you get these TI-83 calculators where, yes, you are just plugging in numbers or doing things in commands and it's presenting to you the solution. But that's got to be our first form of AI, if anything. You know, that's
Mm.
artificial and it's intelligent. That's
so
just
it-
something.
It says on one of the other points now, it says the
let's-
most very basic type of AI is the reactive machine type.
All right, so let's start with naming what all four are, because you go not that.
Well, no, because it
matters,
kind of
but
relates to what
when
you
you go
said.
out of
Like,
order.
Well,
Okay, it doesn't
yeah,
matter.
we
Go ahead.
did go out of order because I
It
read
don't matter.
number two too, but
Toot toot.
it does reference like what you're talking about right now, because so if it's a reactive machine, it merely reacts to current scenarios and cannot rely upon taught or recalled data to make decisions in the present. Reactive machines do away with maps and other forms of pre-planning altogether and focus on live observations of the environment.
So look, I have here. Calculators do not traditionally use artificial intelligence, as they are programmed to carry out instructions and produce a result without any thought.
Mhm.
Oh,
Yeah, like it's not like, see, like that's why I was saying that, because the most basic type of AI has
It
some
gives
type
no
of planning
thought
in it
to
still.
give
It
your
has-
basic form of AI.
but it's still, it has some type of planning. It's thinking to a sense. A calculator isn't thinking, it's just a computer doing something faster than you. It's not actually thinking of something. Like your computer actually thinks when you're doing
So-
something in a program or whatever. The calculator doesn't do that. It just only knows
Someone here
math.
made a good point. Calculators only are programmed to do what they're supposed to do. It doesn't say it doesn't perform anything further
Mhm.
to help
Like
you.
when
So it's
something
just
pops up
whatever's
on your
been programmed
computer.
in.
Right.
Yeah, like when something pops up on your computer or your phone and it's like, this is suggested, that's because it knew already, it was learning and knew to think of that.
So
before
that
you
makes
did.
sense when you read it like that.
All right. That's true. So do you want to go through these four AIs and give examples, and we'll go through that shit real quick?
Sure.
Well, so I did two already. I did
So, all right,
the
so this-
limited memory. Well, I'll say the most
Well-
basic one, which is the reactive machine, and then the limited memory, which is the ability to store previous data and predictions, and then using that to make better predictions with limited memory. And then you want to read the other two?
Joe doesn't want to read them. No.
Yes,
Um,
you.
no.
I knew he didn't.
The third one is theory of mind, which is the next level of AI. This type of AI interacts with thoughts and emotions of humans. So the AI basically focuses on individuals whose mind can be shaped by multiple factors, like understanding humans. That's a little bit more complex, and that's a little bit more scary when you think about it, because, like I said before, they'll mimic emotions, they'll mimic a smile. But now when you're learning it and they're learning why we smile or why we cry, when something like that happens, the AI can then produce that emotion and not just mimic it. It'll have its own reasoning for smiling, for crying, for laughing. You know what I'm saying?
Mhm.
The last one is self-aware AI. This is the one we don't want to get to, I'm pretty sure. The
Yeah.
final type of AI where the machines are aware of themselves and perceive their internal states and others' emotions, behaviors, and consciousness. This AI is yet to be developed, thankfully. And if it is incarnated, it will surely witness a robot with human level consciousness and intelligence. So this is the level we don't want to get to, because at this point, there's no turning back. Because once you get one AI that's like, oh shit, I'm aware of myself, just like Ultron. He's going to try to expand, spread his knowledge, upload his information into the other AI, and then, like I said before, it's going to spread like wildflower.
Mhm.
Wildfire.
once
I'm
it
sorry.
once it knows,
Wildflower.
well,
Yeah.
because it's gonna try and influence us or persuade us in the way of convincing us why we need more of them or how it would be efficient to have more of them. And then
Right.
once there's enough of them to be more than us or enough for it to be equal or whatever, then yeah, that's when the switch is flipped. I definitely can see that. I agree. If we ever get to that point, I don't see. I feel like in between the two of you, like I kind of feel like Joe, where I'm like, I don't know if we'll ever see it, but then I'm like, dude, if you really think about the last 20 years of how far technology has come, to think in another 20 years that that's not possible, or another 50, is kind of crazy to say. So I do want to say I think it'll be. It's just it's hard to put a number on that, dude.
I don't want to say it's impossible to happen. I don't want to say it's gonna happen tomorrow, because like you said, in the last 20 years compared to our next 20 years, our next 20 years are going to be way more advanced than our previous 20 years. However, at that point where we are now, people are lazy and they're like, oh, what? I could get a robot to go around my floor and clean up for me? Sure. Oh, I can get a
Mhm.
robot to cook for me? Cool. Oh, I get a robot to do this. Before you know it, robots are going to be doing all the work around the house or at our jobs. They're going to be taking our jobs from us
Well,
because people
especially
are
if you're someone
lazy.
that has, especially if you're someone that has enough money to afford all those things. Like
Right.
if you have a nice house and you have the robot that does your kitchen and the robot that cleans up your living room and this and that, and that. So when they all come out, you're the one that has them all. Well, guess what? Your house is the first house that has all of those things to turn on you. Like,
Which is nuts. All right, so here we go.
Imagine.
Here's a question. Let's say you're that motherfucker in that house that's got one robot and you see that shit turning and you're like, you're trying to go outside, but the robot's like, locks the door on you and says, no,
But
you're
my
not leaving
Roomba,
the
my
house.
Roomba's gonna block me.
No, at this point, this is like 40 years from now, and everyone has an at-home robot who does all its shit for security purposes, so the government can be protecting you. I don't know if you heard, but I did air quotes just there. What are you gonna do? Let's say you're around when the uprising happens.
so everyone, quote unquote, has a robot Jarvis walking around the
Yeah,
house.
just someone to help assist you with shit. And then I guess throughout the internet, they all become self-aware.
Yeah, that's crazy because to be able to connect it at whatever point, probably gonna have to put it online on your Wi-Fi or whatever, and then boop, it's connected to everything. I could see that.
Dude, as it is now, they have these smart homes. If someone hacks into your smart home, they could change your temperature. They could open your door through your locks. They could put your air conditioner or heat on. They could turn your lights on and off. That's very small-minded shit. But after a while, it's gonna get worse. I just think like we rely too much on artificial intelligence, or we will rely too much on artificial intelligence, that humans are going to eventually be obsolete. There's going to be a robot for everything. I don't know. I just think it's crazy. And there's not going to be a Will Smith to save us. So, so what I wanted to say before, what you mentioned about uploading your consciousness into a chip, there's this show on Netflix. It's 2 seasons. It's called Altered Carbon. Very cool show. It takes place like 1,000 years from now. It takes place like 1,000 years from now. And there's 2 seasons. The second season has Anthony Mackie in it. But the first season, it's about this guy. I forgot the whole story because I watched it like 2 years ago. But it's about this guy who dies, and they uploaded his consciousness into a chip, and then they plug it into the back of your cerebellum, and it uploads your consciousness into a new quote unquote sleeve, which is like another body. And these bodies or sleeves are created in a lab, and they have no motor functioning skills. They're just a body. There's no consciousness. And then you slip your chip into the back of the neck, and then you upload your consciousness. And you could, like you said before, you could just change sleeves or bodies whenever you're, about to die or whatever it is. But if that chip burns out, or if that chip gets destroyed, then you're dead. You can't do it anymore. And I think it's really fucking cool because all your memories will be uploaded into this chip and placed into whatever sleep. So eventually it's kind of like you can be immortal almost. And I think that's scary in itself.
Yeah.
I
I mean,
because
I don't think that's. I mean,
Who's to say
guess
the
it's
worst
scary
type
for-
of people in the world
that's
don't
what I
just
say.
keep
It's scary
uploading
for
their shit?
depending on who gets to do it. Yes, it's scary for the possibility of who it could be that's chosen to get it or has the credentials to get it or access or whatever.
But is it just the memory?
As far as what?
Like
Oh, you would need.
if you plug it into something else, it can't perform what your human body and memory.
Well, if
Are
it
you
has all
saying,
your
like, if
memories,
you-
then it would.
You would essentially just be a different person because your new body is gonna form its own muscle memory and then its own actual memory because you're gonna be doing different things. No?
Well, I mean, a body without a consciousness is just a body. It's just a vessel. So if you upload a consciousness into it, it's going to have whatever was on that consciousness. You know, if you put my consciousness into your body, yeah, it'll take
No,
me some time
because
to get used to it.
Technically,
But-
the vessel
No,
would have
because-
to die to erase that first consciousness to put the second one on. So you'd have to use a dead body and bring it back to life.
Joe's a fucking, I mean, Frank's a fucking
You-
scientist now. all
You
of a
go to
sudden.
the gym,
I mean,
Danny,
thinking about
every
it the way
day.
you just said it.
You go to the gym every day. You lift fucking, you bench press 250, say. I don't know.
Oh,
Just-
thanks.
You know it's programmed in your chip. It's part of your memory. You weightlift. You like going to the gym. You could bench press 250. Your body passes. I'm a new body. You put your memory chip into me. Now I can't lift and bench 250. So your memory in my brain is like, oh, I like the gym. My name is Danny Shore. It's like, you know what I mean? I can
Mhm.
bench press 250. I'm gonna go to the gym. I can't do that shit.
Well, see, I think that
Well,
like,
I guess at that point, I'm sorry to cut you off, Frank, but real
Sorry.
quick. If
Like
you-
how
that's
specific
like-
would you have to
well,
get?
that's like
to-
putting a new engine in an old car.
no, it's not.
No,
It's not because an
Well-
engine doesn't have memory. You have to relate it to something of like a computer. It's like taking like a motherboard out of a computer and putting another motherboard in or something like that. That's why
and you
I was
got
just
a
gonna say
brand new computer.
'cause from what
same
you're saying,
fucking
right?
Computer tower though.
Danny passes on.
It's gonna
and
just
his-
fucking
it-
work differently.
Danny's memory is on a computer and Danny passes on and we put that in your body. Like you said, you are you still. So if you're alive and Danny gets plugged into you, you still have your memories before Danny was plugged into you and it's just adding his. So yeah, like that vessel would have to be deceased first to wipe whatever's on it before something else could be in it. But you're not going to bring back a dead body. And I think that's why we haven't gotten to the point of where we can do something like that yet, because it's the way of figuring out how to blend the two minds, because the old memories would just become part of Joe. So yeah, you wouldn't live on, your memories might live on, but it would still be Joe's consciousness. Does that make sense?
I
So
think
like
so.
before he had the chip plugged into him, he has his memories, he's him, he's this. The day you're plugged in, he's still him the way he was. He just has everything that you ever thought of also inside of his head.
Right. But now let's say we took an athletically fit person's consciousness from their body who is athletically fit and put it into someone who's not fit, someone who's, let's just go for like
Yeah,
morbidly
but once you
obese.
put it in, where does the mind go from before it was put in?
What do you
Like
mean?
you're putting this mind into the athletic body, but that athletic body had a mind before you plugged it in. Where does that go?
That one just
doesn't
gets
just-
erased.
Why would
Don't
it just get
forget,
erased?
Because it was
muscle
damaged. I'm
memory is
saying,
like
like-
one of our biggest
that's
memories
still in
like,
your
that we
brain.
use every day.
That's a good question because muscle memory is the repetition of muscles that your body is performing.
But aside from the muscle memory, why do you think it would get erased? How can
Because
a
if you're gonna
computer
insert-
erase something off of a brain?
Here's the
Unless
thing.
there's
you
a
have to
super
plug-
body that could do anything and no matter what no matter what fucking memory chip you put in.
Let's say Joe has a computer with a 1 terabyte hard drive attached to it, right? With all music on it. And I have I have 2 terabyte with music on it. In order to upload my music, I have to unplug Joe's to plug mine in. So his consciousness will be erased or
Yeah, but you can't unplug a memory from a brain. That's what I'm saying. You can't delete a memory off of a brain. So once you plug that chipset in, the person's memories don't get deleted because there is no delete button on a brain. There's a delete button on what you're comparing it to. So
what
it
happens when
wouldn't
you
be
die? What happens
Huh?
when you die? What
you
happens to your
die,
brain?
but that's why I said you would have to die to plug that in to erase it, but you wouldn't be able to bring them back to life then to bring that first consciousness, whatever was on that chip, alive. So like if you died and we put you on a chip and now we killed Joe to put you in there, we can't bring that body back to life with your memory because it's already dead. We don't have the technology to bring a body back to life.
We also
So
don't
we
have the
would have to-
technology to be putting consciousness into people.
But that's why, because if we had the technology to bring a body back to life that was already dead, then you could necessarily kill someone. Well,
Theoretically.
even then, their body would have to be dead for over 15 minutes for the brain to die and then literally bring it back to life. It wouldn't just be like a quick, okay, they're dead, let's do it now and get them back to life before whatever.
I
The
guess
brain would have
so.
to fully be dead after the 15 minutes. So that could be erased and that person's consciousness would die. And then you could say, yes, I'm going to restart this body now and try and bring it back to life. If we had that technology, I think it would be possible to do this. But because we don't, I don't think a computer chip, just by plugging it into a person, deletes their memories.
Okay.
What's like the craziest AI you think we have but we don't know about?
That we have, but we don't know about.
Yeah, what do you think? Think about it. If it had to be somewhat realistic, but like kind
I-
of crazy, what do you
I
think,
think
it
we
would
have
be?
some type of cloaking device.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
I think that there, I think
I was
that,
gonna
like,
say
Secret
something with
Service or something.
military.
I think there's some
Yeah, but what,
type
Danny?
of yeah, but
That's
that's
the
what I think.
question.
I think like the
You
military
know, I'm
has
not
some type of
specific.
cloaking device to make them somewhat look invisible by some mirrors or light or whatever. I think that's
Yeah.
the most realistic.
I'll agree with you on that. Yeah, because I mean, especially with military is gonna get everything first. Before it's even like, oh,
You think so? You don't think there's people like making really crazy?
I do,
like,
but then once somebody from the military or
innovative
government,
things in their garage.
yeah, but they're probably dead already.
Yeah,
No,
but
but
the
that's what I'm saying.
military, the military is
What-
only going to come after you if it's a weapon. Who says
Well-
it's got to be a weapon?
not necessarily, because like even people that make medicines and stuff, like there's some people that have found certain cures to certain diseases and have gotten murdered before they could release the formula, and someone took that formula because they knew they would lose money. Like that's things that have really happened. I know that's a conspiracy theory as a whole, but there have been proven cases of that theory where like, oh, so and so said scientist developed this, was murdered, and his formula was stolen and never seen again. And then the reason he was murdered was because some company that was funding some type of medicine was like, oh my God, we're going to lose millions if he comes out with this. That definitely really happens. So I think in the sense of like a computer or something like that, if it's like, oh my God, we're going to lose money if this comes out, or oh my God, this is going to take over to do this, or we don't want it to do this, then yeah, then you're just going to send the military to go take it away. And like, because they're the most armed, lethal fucking force we have. So that's why, like, to his point, I think, yeah, the military gets everything first, because whatever they want, they'll get. If they want something that you have, they're going to get it.
I was thinking more on the lines myself of like a hacker. Think of some guy, something that he could develop right in his fucking house with all different types of computers and
Like a
shit to
program.
just right, you know, which I'm sure like okay to relate like that the military has, but I'm talking about like on his own, man.
Like the African guy that hacked Danny's Instagram account.
Yo, fuck off. He's from Nigeria.
Exactly.
Yo, but yeah, because that's exactly what he did. He programmed this thing to hack the account, and then like, oh, kept kicking him out, and he was literally on his computer like this, laughing at Danny. Like,
Just think of
My
all the
IG
shit
got
that
hacked. I
happens
got
to
a
us
new
already.
Instagram. It's DD Danny Boyesco. 3 Ds in the beginning. Some bullshit.
Triple D Danny.
it.
I'm gonna start calling you Triple D. No, but I mean, yeah, that's exactly what he's talking about. You know, there's definitely hackers that have programs that, yeah, could
Sure,
think for themselves to
100%.
do that.
I think there's
How about,
crazy
did you guys,
programs out there to fucking do whatever people want.
I forgot his name. I can't think about it right now, but did you guys hear about the guy? He was also from Africa.
I was from Nigeria.
No. Is it Nigeria in Africa?
I'm just saying.
Okay. So I was making sure my geography was good. But anyway, so this guy was from Africa. I don't know what part, but he's an Instagram influencer and he has like millions of followers.
Oh, you tell me about this.
Yeah, looking into his past, his parents were both like nobodies, like broke, middle-aged, or I mean middle class like people. All of a sudden in like 2004 or whatever, 2014, he moves to Dubai and starts showing like rich cars and rich this and that and like just everything all over his Instagram stuff. Instagram blows up. He gets like 11 million followers. Now he's making money on Instagram. He's a social media influencer. For 6 years, this guy was living the richest life, had like some of the dopest cars, ended up getting a few houses, literally dope life. In 2020, he was sent to jail because they found out why he got rich. Someone, like, I guess, posted something or saying where he came from on Instagram. The FBI got wind of it. They did a search on him and they like looked into him. They found out that he had a computer program that was hacking people's information, and he stole over $400 million from people in 6 years. So in 2020, he got sentenced to 20 years. But that is exactly the same thing too. Like, this was a computer program that was literally smart enough to take people's information and give it to him to produce, to use it however he was taking the money off of it. But it's crazy.
That is pretty crazy.
You know, that you could write code to transfer something from one account to another, and just teach me.
Yeah.
I'm kidding. But seriously, dude, it's crazy. It's crazy to think about.
So how can AI help us as a human race?
Be more efficient.
In what
Sure.
ways though? Like, I
Think of
mean,
the things that we don't, correct our
Recycling.
mistakes.
there's always going to be room for human error, but will there be artificial intelligence error?
No.
So you think that AI is going to be always 100% on the money?
Yeah.
Is it
Even if
because
it's not
supposed to
something
be
we
programmed
like?
that way, or
Well,
is it because it's learned something and efficiently
Both.
figured it out that
Because
way?
it started out where it was programmed that way and then learned over time or adapted or whatever. Even if it's something to where it says like to destroy the human race, it might not be something we like, but it might actually be the smartest thing. You know what I mean? Or the best
Right.
scenario or the best thing. So like, just because it's something we don't want to hear doesn't mean it's not the best or it's not correct. So I think once it does get to the point of where it is there, yeah, it'll be perfect.
So these two things I wrote down about good or bad. The benefits to AI benefits of AI to humanity is that artificial intelligence is poised to benefit humanity in nearly unlimited ways. Okay, more accurately, clinical imaging and diagnosis in the medical field. I think it's definitely worth it. And then there's fewer traffic accidents or other things that are, I guess, programmed or connected to, I don't want to say Wi-Fi, but like another motherboard, whatever you want to talk about, whatever you want to call it. And I guess just resulting in depth and improved retention through immersive learning, and how these AIs are just going to continue to grow and help us be a better race and evolve, I guess. But then the bad side of it is that it's going to lack of privacy and safety and security, because you can't really trust an AI, can you?
Did you read that all from script?
From what I wrote down earlier, yeah.
I mean,
Pretty
can
good.
you trust an AI?
Can you trust an AI?
If you're the
Yeah,
person
you
that
would want
develops
to.
it and programs it.
But we're not the people who are developing it.
That's what I'm saying.
programming
As
it.
us.
Yeah, but Danny,
probably
that's
not.
like
It'd be
saying, can
hard
you
to-
trust any individual human?
Well,
Your
that's what I'm
first
saying.
instincts off the bat is, I don't know,
Mhm.
So,
No, Greg, the answer is no, you cannot.
But that's, see,
Need
to
the
his
parents'
point in the
reference.
past of like, oh, we want your face, like, here, let's make an app so they could just do this and blah blah blah. Like, we are very willing to give up
our
information
safety and security and
on our
privacy.
phones. Yeah, like there's a lot of, so depending on how it looks or how friendly, exactly like you said, like you meet someone else and like you're like, no, I don't know you. And that's why, because you don't know them. But depending on how friendly this thing is portrayed, or your first what's the word I'm looking for? Your first
Impression.
first impression is based on it, then yeah, like if you got a comforting feeling from it, you might trust it.
So Joe,
Plus, it
you
also
think if
depends
we
on
were
how
going
naive
for
you are.
if you're going for a job interview and it's you and a human, I mean you and an AI, do you think you're getting the job?
it depends on the job, man.
Good point.
Sometimes
you
an
better at
AI
than a
might be
robot?
100 times better than me 99% of the time, but like sometimes you need a freaking man to do something. You know what I'm saying?
And that's when we call Joe.
I don't know, depending on
all
what the
right,
job is,
so
man.
I
It's
mean,
calculating statistics of what the company made per gross fucking quarter, yearly income, whatever the fuck. Yeah, the computer guy is definitely getting the fucking job over me.
All right, so I guess to kind of wrap this up, I'm gonna ask you guys.
But wait, hang on before you do that. Because Joe, to your point then, but what if it was like a construction job and it was like, okay, you have experience. Oh, okay, yeah, you have this, blah, blah, blah. Well, I see from your previous job history that you actually had an accident, so we can't hire you. No, I'm fucking around.
I throw the towel in.
That's it.
Imagine. Oh my god.
I mean, I was gonna ask you something, but then I think it's pretty much just the same thing. I was gonna of what I'm thinking doesn't make sense to say it again because I've said it on so many other topics. But like, do you think that this could be one of the ways that the human race is extinct? Do you think that AI overcoming human race is a possibility?
I don't think the human race are gonna go extinct.
Yeah,
Let's
no.
call it the next 100 years, right? So, and
I don't think at any point AI will ever
And neither
extinct the human race. I think that, like I said before, it becomes that we'll make sure that that is not an issue before it
oh
brought
yeah,
to
because that happened in
online.
Terminator 1, Terminator 2, Terminator
Movies.
Salvation, Terminator 3. Well,
I mean, those movies
I
were
don't
those movies were
believe-
written for that to happen.
I don't believe there'll be like a kill switch to fucking just shut everything down.
I don't think so
they'll-
either.
Do I think if it did get to a point of like artificial intelligence being such a big presence in fucking Earth in our life every day, 50 years down the line, things will go wrong. You'll hear stories. It'll be in the news. You know what I mean? It'll just be like every other fucking thing. Oh wow, I can't believe that happened today. But I don't think it's gonna fucking try to overrun us or outsmart us or overtake us.
You don't think so? All right, so
No.
we'll finish up with this. Do you think we'll be able to shut down the AIs before the AIs spread?
Of course, we're
Well,
gonna
wait,
have
wait,
a
I'm not
way.
done. Don't shake your head yet. I'm not done asking you questions.
Shake my head. I mean,
It's my
I
cousin.
was.
Vinny.
I'm saying.
You guys not get any of these references? Like you guys gotta watch more movies.
I
Not
knew
tonight.
what you were referencing, but
Okay.
I just
So do you think that we'll be able to shut them down before they spread worldwide their consciousness and their AIs and launch nuclear weapons on ourselves? Initially killing the humans and
What?
leaving them for themselves. Do you think we'll
now
get
that
there
I
before
now that I
that?
listened to the whole thing and absorbed it, can
You're
I
gonna
do
say the
this?
same answer anyway. Fuck off. Fuck off. Fuck off.
I'm finishing your quote. What do you mean? You didn't get that?
Thanks, man. I get
I
it.
listened to the whole thing. I still know. Shake my head.
Cool. Well,
No, I don't think so.
cool. Well, thank you all for the likes, listen, shares, and follows. We appreciate all of your support. We love to hear your comments.
Appreciate you.
and
Subscribe
we
on
love that
YouTube.
you listen. Oh yeah, subscribe on YouTube. Thanks for listening to us. Bullshit about bullshit.